And we're live.
Hey, we are Rich and Adam doing our championship edition of the podcast.
Hey, it's me. It's me, Adam, and I'm here with
Hey,
Rich.
hooray! Yeah, so we're talking about the finals this season, which, as it stands or as it happens, is West Kendall,
Winnipeg.
Platoon,
Yeah,
and
West Kendall,
Winnipeg.
Winnipeg. Yeah, two very, very good teams. All
Yes,
around.
I think at the beginning of the season, most people probably had both teams at or near the top of their regular season predictions, and I would tend to agree with that, especially in the case of Winnipeg. So yeah, I don't think it's any crazy huge surprise. Both these teams are in the finals. They're both really good teams.
No, not at all. They both have um, some really, really, really powerful strengths. I mean, let's start with West Kendall. They've got a great skating group.
Mhm.
But I think most importantly, Bojo Biscuit is just a phenomenal netminder for being as young as he is.
Yeah, for sure. He's playing, I think, like a much more experienced goaltender than he actually is. His skill level is definitely up there in the top of the league. Their skating group too is outstanding. Guys like Forsberg and Alex Light, Trevor Wilson, really outstanding forwards.
Lisa
Really,
Riley, I believe, had a hell of a season too.
yeah. He's not maybe one of the names you think of when you think West Kendall. You're probably more thinking like
Yeah, Light,
Schroeder.
Forsberg,
Yeah,
Schroeder, Ross.
yeah. He's not that guy that you think of, but he's yeah, he's a solid player, solid depth player for them. Actually, he's playing first line center. I did not realize that. Wow.
Good for him.
So
Well, I mean, he's up there now with TP. It's
yeah, one he's got excellent supporting wingers in Wilson and Biscock too. So
yeah.
Wilson especially.
Um, how about weakness though for West Kendall? If you got to pick a weakness for them, what is it?
Oof. That's tricky. I need to take a quick look here. I would probably say their defensive depth isn't outstanding. It's good.
Well, right,
Uh,
because they've got what? They've got Schroeder, Ross as a first pairing, and then
yeah, it's a solid group of kind of no name guys though.
okay,
They're fine. They're not gonna hurt the team too much, but I don't really know that it's much of a weakness. But if you have to point to a weakness, that's the only thing I can really come up with. Um,
yeah, I think their defensive depth is probably the biggest weakness they have. But I think more than anything, and we talk about this a lot, West Kendall's just as a team has a tendency to be very spotty.
yeah, that's true. Yeah,
And
their
granted,
coaching is. I don't want to say their coaching's bad. It's just there's some inconsistencies that are hard to explain.
yeah, and granted, they've been having a hell of a postseason up to now, but you never know when that unpredictability is going to strike.
For sure.
Um, moving on to Winnipeg, then. I mean, obviously they have probably one of the best skating cores in the league, if not the best skating core in the league.
Yeah, I think in terms of forwards, they probably are the best group. Yeah, off the top of my head, I would give them the best group of forwards. They're obviously everybody knows Visser, but then you guys that don't get a ton of attention are still very good and are kind of known commodities. Are guys like Bears and Evans, Kilrad. Um, they're very good as well. They don't get the attention that guys like Visser and I think Volkova probably do, but they're right there. In terms of talent level.
And their net minding also really, really solid. Jimbayev, uh, as of now, um, up for the McBride,
McBride,
right?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
As of now, Jimbayev up for the McBride, and no surprise, he's been solid basically ever since they called him up.
Yeah, and it's without a ton of support on defense too. Their defense, again, like they're very similar in terms of the makeup of their team as West Kendall. Their defense is good, but they're lacking a bit in the depth department.
Right. You've got a guy like Weber basically running the defensive show in Winnipeg.
Mm-hmm.
And he's good, and he's proven in the regular season that he has the power to carry that team well. But I think if we're talking weakness in Winnipeg, it's a lot like West Kendall, that their defensive core just doesn't have the depth that you would expect of a championship caliber team.
Yeah. Their third pair has the potential to be exploited. I think they're okay, but if you get a bad matchup, it could be ugly.
So moving on from that, as far as players across the series, who do you expect to dominate? If you're asking me, we're going to see guys like Visser lighting up
Mhm.
the lamp. We're going to see Weber probably taking control in their own zone and then taking shots from the point. Um, guys like Viscott and Wilson and Light. Biscuit will be great in net for West Kendall.
Yeah, I think with Winnipeg, you have to look for their stars to continue the kind of performance they had in the regular season. So Visser is the obvious choice. If he can keep up that kind of production, it's going to be very good for them. Um, for West Kendall, it's they're not quite as top heavy. I don't think they've got a few more guys that are they don't have that very clear kind of superstar that Visser is. They've got Forsberg is very very good, Light who's solid, Wilson solid. They've got these guys that are good. And if that group can kind of you know they continue the chemistry they had in the regular season, which wasn't quite on the level of a guy like Visser, but very very good. So if they can keep that up, I think they should be able to hang with a team as talented as Winnipeg. Outside of that, goaltending, I don't know that either goaltender really has to dominate because they're both facing really really competent forward groups. So they're both going to be tested heavily. So both of them just have to kind of do enough to keep their team in the game and hope that their I think groups of skaters can just score a bit more than the other team.
I think it's a fair assessment to make. Of the people on either of these teams, who are we looking at that could come as a shock the way that they're playing? Who are the guys that nobody's thinking of that are going to come through and make a difference in this series?
Hmm. I think we mentioned earlier a guy like Lever Riley, who is getting a lot of minutes. He's got a lot of responsibility on the team, but he isn't really a premier player. He isn't like a household name. Um, so you get a guy like that going, and it's kind of like a nice little bonus. Um, you got your stars are going to do what they're going to do, but if you get a guy like Lever Riley to contribute in a pretty solid way, you're gonna do well.
And as far as Winnipeg goes, I think we should look at one of the guys who currently is nominated for an Nathan Rishon Star or an Nathan Rishon Award, Gary Grease, young
Yes.
guy who is stepping up this year. I think we're going to actually see him have a bit of an impact on this Winnipeg team and on this series in general. He has taken on a fair bit more responsibility in the organization. He's proving himself. He's putting up points. He's putting up goals. He's putting up assists. He is being the player that they need him to be, and I think we're going to see him kick it up a notch in this series.
Yeah, I think somebody else outside of Weber on their in their defense needs to step up.
Um, and on the note of stepping up, what players do we sort of expect to be a bit invisible during this series? The people that maybe they weren't necessarily slated to be top guys, but the guys that nonetheless you look at and say you should be performing better.
Hmm. That's tough. I think in the past we've seen a lot of potential and a lot of scoring out of a guy like Corey Bears. Um, but he's been a bit up and down. I hope for Winnipeg's sake he's not down. Um, but he has shown a tendency to kind of be inconsistent. Um, and against a good team like West Kendall, that's going to hurt you. Um, I guess I don't know that I expect it. I just kind of I'm wary of it.
That's fair. On the note of Wes Kendall, and I obviously he's a great player, deserves the minutes he's getting, but I do wonder if Dionys Viscock is going to show up as the first line guy that he's being pegged as. I don't necessarily know that he'll bomb out, but I do wonder if he's going to have the impact that Wes Kendall would like him to have on this series, and he should theoretically not have trouble doing that. He's playing with Riley and Wilson. So in theory, he should show up, but much like you with Bears, I'm a bit wary about whether or not Viscock is going to be that first line guy that they expect him to be.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would agree with that. That makes a lot of sense. What else do we got?
I think that's everything we have to talk about.
Yeah.
And
we hit 5 minutes?
we're close to 10.
Oh, dang. Okay. Well, yeah, I guess with that, we can
wrap
say
it up.
Adios. Yeah.
Yeah, that was there you go, the Rich and Adam bonus episode.
Yeah.
Thanks for listening, Mike Izzy.
Mike Izzy.
Because I don't know who's going to listen to this, but I assume it's Mike Izzy.
That'd be my expectation, but who knows?
We'll see you next week.
Yep.